All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating psychology of stress, and more importantly, we're unlocking an evidence-based toolkit to actually master it. Think about it for a second. Whether you're facing a massive deadline, a sudden life change, or honestly, just the daily grind, how you process that pressure literally changes everything about your physical and mental health.
Let's kick things off with a pretty wild comparison from our source material. Why did a student named Sonia, who was totally overwhelmed by an MBA program she didn't even want to do, successfully pivot to a thriving career in dance under all that pressure? And on the flip side, why did Sharn's highly anticipated job promotion lead to work overload, massive errors, and eventually a clinical breakdown with severe depressive symptoms? I mean, they both faced immense life pressures, right? Yet their outcomes were complete opposites.
Well, this divide perfectly highlights the difference between adaptive and maladaptive coping strategies. It proves that the stressor itself isn't always the core problem. Our reaction to it is. Sonia used adaptive coping. She communicated her frustration, changed her environment, and found a long-term positive solution. Sharan, unfortunately, fell into a maladaptive cycle, experiencing intense burnout that ultimately required professional intervention.
Okay. Let's look at this academic definition from Lazarus and Folkman back in 1980 to really ground ourselves here. Notice the language they use. Coping is actually a deliberate, active effort. It involves both cognitive and behavioral strategies directed towards overcoming, decreasing, or, even just enduring heavy internal and external demands. It's not just letting things happen to you. It is an active mechanism of survival and adaptation.
So here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll explore coping styles. Then, we'll open up the stress management toolkit, dive into meditation, and finally, look at the power of yoga. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Exploring coping styles.
Where a crisis hits, our brains usually default to one of two modes. Are you using problem-focused coping? Meaning, are you directly attacking that stressful deadline or gathering information to fix the issue? Or are you using emotion-focused coping, where you're really just trying to calm your anxiety and manage your emotional reaction to the event? Now, emotion-focused coping is great for things you absolutely can't control, like grief. But if the problem is fixable, you really need to shift gears to problem-focused strategies.
We also see a massive difference between proactive and avoidant coping. Avoidant coping, denying the problem, minimizing it, or turning to short-term escapes, might feel really good in the moment. But our source material makes it incredibly clear it is closely linked to long-term distress and depression. Proactive coping, on the other hand, is all about direct confrontation.
So, how do you actually do proactive coping? Well, it doesn't just happen by accident. It follows these 5 distinct stages. You start by accumulating resources and gathering info. Then you actually anticipate the potential stressor before it even arrives. You make an initial appraisal of the threat, put in preliminary efforts to handle it, and finally, you seek feedback to adjust your approach. You're basically building a strategic defense before the stress even has a chance to fully hit you.
You also have a choice in timing, combative versus preventive coping. Think of it like this. You can either fight the stress monster when it arrives at your door, monitoring the stress and attacking it directly to calm yourself down, or you can restructure your life and adjust your demands so the monster never even shows up in the first place. That's preventive coping. It's all about adjusting your behavior patterns beforehand so the stressor is no longer a threat.
Section 2. The Stress Management Toolkit.
All right, enough theory. We are now shifting from the psychological side of things to highly actionable techniques. We're moving out of the mind and into the body, starting with the absolute most immediate tools you have at your disposal to counteract the physiological changes of stress, like that rapid heartbeat and tightened muscles. I actually want you to slow down and try this with me right now. This is the quick relief method. Sit up straight, close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and exhale gently. By putting aside stressful thoughts for literally just 5 to 10 minutes and focusing entirely on your breath, you act as a physical reset button for your nervous system. Then, counting backwards from 10, rubbing your palms together, and placing them over your eyes just locks in that reset.
Once you've centered your breathing, you can level up to Jacobson's progressive muscle relaxation. The core idea here is actually mind-blowing. Tension and relaxation cannot physically exist in your body at the exact same time. It's biologically impossible.
By deliberately contracting and then releasing 16 specific muscle groups, starting from your forehead all the way down to your calves, you are effectively hijacking your nervous system and forcing your body to choose relaxation.
Section 3. Meditation.
You've probably heard the Sanskrit word dhyana. It translates to meditation, but it is far more than just sitting quietly in a room. It is scientifically supported to reduce the physical impact of stress on the body while massively enhancing your self-awareness. It's an active process of quieting the mind with the explicit goal of attaining an inner state of awareness, promoting affective health, and actually increasing your attention span.
And hey, there's absolutely no one-size-fits-all approach here. Whether you prefer the repetition of chanting a mantra in transcendental meditation, using your senses for guided visualizations, or doing intense self-observation of bodily sensations through vipassana. You might even prefer directing loving-kindness outward or balancing your energy centers. The crucial takeaway is this: there is a method out there specifically tailored to how your individual brain works.
Section 4. The power of yoga. The core philosophy of yoga is right there in its name. Derived from Sanskrit, it literally translates to unite. It's about bringing your frantic, overactive mind and your tense, stressed body back into singular alignment for true self-realization. It's so wildly effective that it's recognized globally, celebrated internationally on June 21st every year to promote health and well-being.
Now, yoga is a lot more than just those fancy stretches you see on Instagram. The Bhagavad Gita and the sage Patanjali actually outline 4 unique paths: Karma Yoga, which is focused on action; Bhakti Yoga, focused on devotion; Jnana Yoga for knowledge; and Ashtanga Yoga, which is that power and movement flow most of us are familiar with. It is a comprehensive, holistic approach to handling literally all of life's demands.
But if you are looking for that immediate physical stress relief, we turn to the asanas, or postures. These movements safely release trapped physical tension, from meditative seated poses like the lotus pose to standing stretches like the triangle or the chest-opening cobra pose. When you combine these with controlled breathing, these postures actively combat stress at a biological level, leading to higher productivity and just way better overall health. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. The external demands of life, the crazy deadlines, the sudden changes, they're probably always going to be there. But as we saw with Sonia and Sharon at the very beginning, the stressor isn't what defines your outcome. Your reaction is entirely in your hands. So knowing your natural coping style and having this physical toolkit of breathing, meditation, and yoga, what tool will you choose tomorrow to take your power back?